It's 2 o'clock and the Code Board of Tarpon Springs is called to order. Bobby, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Wade?
I'm here.
Mr. Perfidio?
Here.
Mr. Weeks?
Here.
Mrs. Tellier?
Here.
Mrs. Archer is absent today. And Mr. Rolleston?
Here.
Dr. Mattia is also absent today. And Ms. Eisner?
Here.
That completes your roll call.
Before we have the invocation and the pledge, would everybody please remember to silence your phones? And then we will ask our board attorney, Mr. Trask, to give the invocation and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Heavenly Father, we seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. We pray that our work this afternoon will find favor in your sight. This we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's no one here to speak at the meeting that needs to be sworn in other than our staff, and I don't think they have they don't have a presentation to make.
No, ma'am. Not unless you have questions about the affidavits.
All righty. First item on the agenda today is an affidavit of non-compliance. It's case number 22-800000009, 415 East Oakwood Street. Darlene Manderson.
Have the record reflect there's no one in the audience on this particular matter. Just need a motion to
If
accept.
anyone would like to make a motion regarding this case.
I already looked at it.
Make a motion?
I move, based on testimony, evidence, and facts presented by law, that the respondent failed to timely comply with the board's prior order within the time prescribed in the award the city $147.50 for the cost incurred in prosecuting this case.
It's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Item 2 on the agenda. Item number 20-8000421, 24 West Boyer Street. Peter Mandropoulos, Eileen Mandropoulos.
I move to accept the affidavit of compliance and to award the city $212.50 for the cost incurred in prosecuting the case.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 3 on our agenda is also an affidavit of compliance, case number 20-800000396, 38954 US Highway 19 North. It's an LLC listed as KPM Tarpon LLC. There are no costs associated with this.
I move to accept the affidavit of compliance and to affidavit of compliance.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion has passed. I did not see any minutes in my
Right here.
packet. Bobby, there were no minutes?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. There are no public comments. Board and staff comments. Today, we have a code enforcement workshop provided to us by Patricia McNeese, who's from the principal planner in our planning and zoning department, and she's offering us a workshop on infill development types. The board can choose to continue our meeting and address these issues. Am I seeing everybody's agreeing with that? Let's continue with that then, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
And what this is basically, my name is Pat McNeese. I'm principal planner with the Planning and Zoning Department. And some of you did attend a first round of workshops on the city's comprehensive plan. City is updating that plan. That's the long-range kind of blueprint for the city development, facilities, infrastructure, all those types of kind of overall land development and city facilities and services issues. And it's usually spans like a 20-year period is what this update will look at. So in the course of doing that, we're trying to get some public input on various things. What we're doing is going to each of the advisory boards in particular because, for one thing, we're doing it at meetings because if you discuss amongst yourself, just to be compliant with sunshine law, but also you're more, you're pretty involved with the city. You see applicants and cases, and you have a realm of knowledge and perspectives that are important for us to get input from. So what I have today are 3 exercises aimed at particular points in the comprehensive plan. And we're bringing these to all the advisory boards. The first is a survey. The second is an exercise on infill development where you're going to be using stickers, so it's a little bit of a kind of going back to kindergarten, I guess. Kind of a fun exercise to do, and transportation is kind of labeling some of these infill or connection pieces that are missing or need enhancement. Now, different boards have approached this differently. Some will, and I just wanted to let you know, just for staff and everybody's perspective, some have adjourned a regular session, gone into workshop session, and then we just work with the planning staff through that and discuss it amongst themselves, ask us questions while they're filling things out. Others have gone through my presentation, which I'll go through each exercise. They take it home, return it later. There was a question earlier, Chair Wade had asked if you filled it out online already, do you do it as a board member? What we'd like is for you to fill it out as a board member. Your individual, citizen input online will still be there, but some have chosen to. We had a couple other board members that did that, but we'd like your input as a board member in case there's any different perspective there. So that would be, the procedure. I don't know if you all want to talk about whether the rest of the staff would need to stay, or if you, since a couple of you have expressed a desire to maybe work through some of these things here at the meeting. We can do that. Heritage Preservation Board did that, so they sat for an hour and a half and worked through. Other boards have taken it with them. Some asked, I did public art yesterday, they asked about 20 minutes worth of questions amongst themselves and then took it with them. So everybody's different. So
I'd like input from folks. That sounds good to me. Take a few minutes to look through it.
Yes.
And then decide if you'd like to take it home.
Right.
Am I feeling a consensus on that?
Does
Okay.
that include any presentation information that she might present?
yeah, I will do that.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure, if you were going to stay for an hour and a half, that if you wanted to let the rest of the staff go, okay.
They certainly don't need to stay for this if they would like to return to their other duties. Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Okay. And we have, sometimes, like, we're having a special one for Planning and Zoning Board, but we've tried to tack these on to the end of board workshops to, and luckily you were short today, so, your agenda. So, with that, I'll go ahead and go through, there's a cover memo on there. And I'll go ahead and just kind of hit the highlights of that. So we are updating our plan. The city is required to take a look at the update of the plan by state law every 7 years. Recently, I think was passed in your charter to look at it every 3 years. The last time we looked at it was, I don't know. There were some pretty specific updates done, I think, in 2007, 2008 date range. This plan originally is from like 1990. That's when your land development code was adopted, following that plan. So we're looking at a complete update of every element of the plan. You can see on page 1 here, the state required elements. It says Florida statute mandates certain elements, so we have all those. And then on the next page, we have 3 optional elements. One of those we have now, historic, and we're looking at lifelong learning is really a replacement of a previously state-required public school facilities element. This one we're thinking maybe it'll be geared toward not just schools, but different learning opportunities, vocational or whatever it is, even from young to elderly, those types of things. And then maybe an economic element. We don't have that in our current consultant scope right now. We have asked for the state for a grant to write an economic element. So we're looking at maybe doing an economic element. On page 2, right under that, you'll see some principles that came from the strategic planning process. I think most of you or all of you are aware the city's been going through a strategic planning process for, I guess, a little over a year now, and they've made pretty good progress and come to these principles, and those kind of form a baseline for our comprehensive plan, to a jumping off point to focus our efforts. The 3 focus areas for these exercises and for the plan are named Craft Your Community, Preserve and Prosper, and Strategic Service. So as we go through the exercises, we can, that's what they're kind of built around, as those 3 focus areas. So your first exercise is a survey, and as you'll see, it has questions, mostly multiple choice, on these 3 focus areas. And how many questions are there? I can't remember, but there's 4 or 5 pages of mostly multiple choice survey questions. And as you're flipping through there, if there's any questions you have about what it means. And the reason I gave you my card, by the way, is if you individually, if you go home and you're working on this, you can, send me an email, obviously, just myself or the planning staff, and I'll be glad to help you with any questions you have on it.
But I have a question.
Okay.
And it's come up so frequently lately. Do we have, how many acres in this town are preserved park, public spaces? Do we know how much we have, so I can figure, there's already a square mile for every person, and can we count as far as Brooker Creek, or do we have to quit at city boundaries? You understand what I'm asking? I'm not.
Yeah. We have calculated that, and I can certainly send you all that information. We did a calculation some time ago of, and it's fairly complete. It was within pretty much city boundaries, so it had Howard Park and Anderson Park, which are county parks, but not Brooker Creek.
It included the county parks.
Those are, but we counted them as inside municipal limit
Okay.
kind of space.
And off the top of your head, do you remember sort of what it came out to be? That's, I'm putting you on the spot, I'm sorry.
If I say an acreage, I know it's going to be wrong, but,
You can send it to me.
okay,
At
I'll
some
send it to you guys, but I think we came up with that we
What
were
I'm
way
asking.
over.
It seems like we have a lot, and yet there's controversy
Yeah,
about
we
it.
were way over our level of service acreage for per capita for parks, which is in the comprehensive plan, and some of that is because of those two larger parks. We have Anclote Nature Park, which is fairly large. It's like 70 acres, and some of those do push us up well over our current level of service requirement for parks, at least for park acreage, passive and open space acreage. We do have levels of service for, number of ball fields, number of I think boat ramps we're deficient on technically, things
Yeah,
like that.
and I was trying
That's
not to
active.
count ball fields and things.
Yeah.
I consider that a different usage.
Did she say
Yeah,
Connie
but I
Parks
will get you the.
I didn't hear, would you say it in the microphone?
Did you include county parks? Is that what you said, or did
Yes.
not include?
In the open space and passive recreation kind of analysis we did, we included the county parks that are inside the municipal
Okay. So we're
area and limits, county-owned parks that are
understood.
inside the city. Yeah, so there's, the preserve down by Klosterman. That's one that's not public access, but it's open space, things like that. Those were counted,
That's-
but not
They
Brooker
should
Creek.
be.
Yeah, so I will get you that,
Thank you so much.
okay. So if you have any other questions on what these things mean, some of the questions like, the first one, what would you like to see in your neighborhood? What would you be okay with? People don't always have a context for what's a home office, what's a home-based business. We do have, allowance of home businesses now, and there's limits on those, mostly related to traffic and deliveries and what you're doing in there. You're not, welding a car together and painting it type thing, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Noise and,
People don't mind if somebody's home working on their computer, but they don't like
Yeah.
it if 20 people are driving in and out of their
so we
driveway
have
all
that
day
now.
long.
So this kind of expands on that. Would you go for, a home salon in a garage? Not technically right now really allowed, things like that. So for different neighborhoods. So if you have questions on those kind of things, we'll be glad to.
Okay, I have a question so when you look at definitions, so there's a big word here, equitable, so what defines equitable? Are you using Merriam-Webster? Or is it, are we talking about, because you do have equality, and then you have equity, and, and the thing is, I think sometimes these words are thrown around, you can have sweat equity in something, or equity in your house. Where
Right.
you donate, and also then you say, well, we want equity, so at the end of the day, everybody's equal. No, that's not how life works. It's what you
Right.
put in, you get out with,
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that we have a proper definition.
Okay, we can do that. And really, this was kind of getting at, and this actually emerged, and I know it's kind of one of those words that has these, more things coming in from the outside, but we got to a point where we realized, in the notifications and getting the word out on the comp plan, we have a senior population, at least a certain segment of it. Some of them are way better on the phone and computer than I am. I'm telling you, my mom is. But then others, I know at least one that we all know, Mrs. Protos, she does not have a computer. Last I heard, so those types of things. How do we reach everybody? That's where it kind of started. So with the economic, we just wanted to make sure, we're not just doing the encourage small business, make sure we have enough zoning for commercial. That's kind of your kind of your cookbook economic development element. We wanted to get into maybe more other things, touch affordable housing, see where our workforce is coming from, where they're, just different things to try to make it more Tarpon specific. But you're right, we should, that would be a good idea. If we're going to call it that, let's define what that means in the element.
So it's more as equal input. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well,
haven't
that's
really
kind of
defined
where
Yeah,
we
just
started.
what the definition
yeah.
we're working on. I mean, because,
Yeah.
we can talk about equitable health, safety, and welfare. Well, okay, that's pretty nebulous, and depending upon how you slant it, okay, is it equitable, access, everybody has the same access. Well, hey, I want to drive a Maserati, but, I don't have a Maserati.
Right,
But I mean,
right.
this is the things, so I just want to make sure that we're looking at this with the proper definition. And if you go into Merriam-Webster, that has a few different definitions as well. So.
Okay. All right.
There's
That's
there's a
great.
statement
Well-
here, too, about enhanced environmental standards.
What does that mean?
Which standards are you using? Where are you getting those standards?
It's this baseline stuff that we're still feel a little insecure about it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can't answer the question because you don't know what it means.
Okay, so the equity and the environmental, and these are the things we want to be able to define in redoing this comp plan. So, okay, those are great questions and input already. So you want to move on to exercise 2, which is the fun one?
Yeah.
Exercise 2 is your infill development types. Okay, so we have carved up the city into 5 areas. You'll see on that first map. And just briefly, Area 1 is west of the bayous, a lot of single family over there. Goes down to Klosterman, but, Area 2 is north of the river, basically, a little more industrial up there. That's kind of historically a lot of working area of the city. Area 3 is downtown and what I call old uptown, but it's kind of the downtown, very old plats, things like that.
Right.
Area 4 is the 19 corridor. We really don't have a vision for that corridor, and we've talked kind of internally about 19 and alt 19. Just looking at that as far as what's going on there. And then Area 5 is east of 19, which seems to be so far in the boards when I go to them.
And that's
I don't
where-
know if any of you live east of 19, but it's almost like the redheaded stepchild. They're like, oh, okay, east of
But
19.
there's a difference in your red line and what, like, George Street is on there, and those people are not considered in the city of Tarpon Springs.
George Street. I'm not sure where you, well, I mean, these are general
Oh,
areas
south
and
of,
they
okay,
don't.
I see south of
Yeah.
Keystone, that's where I got
And there
confused.
are-
I'm sorry.
A good number, I would say a significant number of unincorporated parcels in these areas. So this is not a picture of the city limits,
Got it.
but it's a picture of where basically the municipal limits, but there's, north of the river is a good example where there's a hodgepodge of stuff that's not annexed in. Few parcels down by Klosterman, the alt 19 stuff, that's not all annexed in, which is right there in that area 1. So those are the general areas. And then on the next page, you'll see the infill development types. So what we're looking for in this exercise is, as you guys know, Tarpon Springs has a lot of development in it now. This number's been kind of thrown around. We get population projections from University of Florida. It's Business and Bureau of Economic and Business Research, BEBR we call it. And they put out populations for all the counties and cities in the state. So they put us for 5,000 more people by, I can't remember if it's 2040 or 2045. So that's, I can't do math fast in my head, but 2.3 people per household. So it's, I don't know, 2,800 or 3,000 households, right? We may or may not have that many more people. Right now, on the books, in the comprehensive plan, on paper, for incorporated parcels, the density is there to accommodate that and more. So the question here we're looking for, there's a lot of infill parcels in areas that are developed now. And what we're looking for is, if you were gonna do, accommodate a little bit more, more units in your neighborhood or in one of these areas, what would you be looking for on residential types? What would you not have too much of an issue with? Accessory dwelling units are a popular item right now. We get calls on them all the time, as people's parents age and that. Our rules are, I would say, a little bit restrictive on them. They have to be not more than 600 square feet, things like that. That might be something we want to look at as more people want to use those accessory dwelling units. So that a paired villa is really kind of a duplex that's kind of a fancy duplex, if you want to put it that way. And then there are other products. We actually have a cottage court over off of Lime Street here in the city already, which is an old, development. I think the houses are from the 40s. If you guys drive over by Lime and
The little wooden ones
gross.
that are different colors?
Yeah, the different colored ones. That's a cottage court. So I mean, we have something like that to give you an idea. So those might be infill areas that are really something you might want to look at to put in neighborhoods. And then, of course, there's the larger products down on the bottom, the apartments, the townhomes, those types of products. So the idea is that you would take your stickers and you've got area 1 to work with and work with each area. Don't worry too much about getting the sticker in a specific geographic area too much, unless you want to and you want to write a note on, you can write on these, whatever you want to do, as long as we can read it when you're done. Just put the sticker, yeah, I'd be okay with the accessory units over here, but maybe not a fourplex or, something like that. So you would put your stickers here and then go through each area for those.
Do we know, again, I'm after a baseline, do we know how many single-family homes, apartment units, duplexes or townhouses exist in the city?
There's a number for that, and I can get it to you
Okay. That's
from
important.
property appraiser. I can give you the number of units quickly. As far as dividing it up the townhomes and stuff, that we'd have to do some analysis. I can get you.
I'm just,
I can
if
get you
we're
the
going to
number of units.
diversify our housing stock, I need a baseline to, okay, we have a lot of these, we have none of these, we have,
Yeah, I don't know that I can get you the divided up stuff quickly.
estimates
but
are fine, just kind of general numbers.
Okay.
It's
It
hard
could
to
be-
project when I don't know where we are.
Yeah, and I might be able to get you quick numbers for the zonings. So single-family zoning has, 8,000
think that would be
units.
helpful?
Yeah,
And you're
that's
going to
important,
assume that
yeah.
most of those are single-family houses.
'Cause you-
Multifamily, so I can work on trying to get you that.
Hey, you don't want to have a mid-rise apartment building in the middle of a bunch of single-family homes because it's out of character.
Well, that's the idea. So you wouldn't put a sticker on maybe
Yes.
area 1 for, with an apartment sticker.
And then the fringes of the city can have different kinds
Yeah.
of things, yes.
So, and then we have commercial types, where you would put, now we have, obviously 19 corridor, downtown, Alt 19, those are kind of been our traditional commercial. But some of these up toward the top especially, we're just looking to see if there's any kind of feel for, do any neighborhoods want a corner store type thing? Depending on, and what does that look like? We can always define it later. So we're just kind of looking for, and that might be a step up from the guy down the street is running a barber shop out of his house. Maybe that's not quite where you're at, but a corner, store or a 3-tenant building with personal services only, a dog groomer and whatever. Maybe that's something. So that's kind of what we're looking for on the commercial.
That's helpful, thank you.
The properties that are down the block from here, the tiny little homes that are connected. What is that called?
Down the block, the townhomes?
You talking about over by
Oh,
Tarpon Tavern?
The one right here, no,
Oh,
On
Those-
Ring?
Those are not tiny little homes. I think you'd be surprised
Yeah,
at the
those-
square footage.
Those are townhomes, that's,
That's on Ring Street.
carriage
They're
townhomes.
$500,000 houses.
And
no, she's talking about right down here.
right
Ring
down on
Street.
this block.
Oh,
Yeah.
these are all subsidized.
actually, that
Subsidized
picture,
Right, the
that,
Section 8, but what are they called if we want more Section 8 in the city?
Yeah, we don't have any
We don't have
basis
a
of how
sticker
many
for that.
subsidized housing units already
Subsidized
exist.
housing, Section 8.
well, you could make a note on here that you would like affordable housing somewhere. This down here, actually, the townhome picture is a picture of they're called carriage homes on Ring. That's a townhome
Yeah.
development.
That's what I'm talking
That's
about.
actually a
Those are
picture of that.
expensive.
Those are not affordable, those are market rate.
It is
But you
market
could,
rate.
you could put the sticker and then, yeah, make a note, affordable housing, or Section 8, or however you want to know.
Again, it would help to know how
Sure
many
would.
we have.
Yeah.
I mean, I deliver food to a lot of these places, so I know that what Section 8 housing and where it is, but I don't know the numbers, how many exist.
Yeah, and I don't know,
And there's
Yeah.
a certain percentage we're obligated to have, aren't, it's reflective of the population of subsidized housing? No?
I don't think there's
There's no
any law that
requirement
says
for
you
that?
have to have this.
When you're building, yeah.
Yeah.
Trask
No.
is still
putting
on
up
duty.
there's not.
None?
None. It's not required.
No.
You don't have to, we're just providing places for folks to live.
Right, but I thought when you make developments, then you're obligated.
They
Yeah,
have
when they
to
put
make
in a
donation
development,
to a
right.
fund,
Okay.
but that fund doesn't have to be spent
Doesn't some of
here.
it have to
No.
be affordable?
Tarpon Springs has no requirements
Okay.
for,
Fair enough.
yeah, that part of a development has to be affordable, no.
Okay.
But yeah, and I know you're worried about how many are there and should there be more, and we will get to that, I think, in the next round of engagement.
Okay.
We're just looking for
Basics.
really geographic, your neighborhood, when you drive around a city, where do you think there's a possibility for some of these types of development? But I'll get you the numbers I can, but.
I'm
but
sorry, I'm getting ahead of it.
That's all
but
right.
it just-
That's what we're
It's hard for me to
after.
project without a base.
Okay. And then the rest of those are the context area sheets. So there's a sheet for each one for you to put the stickers on.
Got it.
Okay, you ready for exercise 3? The last and final one. Okay. This one's about transportation, walking, biking, and transit connections. So your first picture is really just a citywide picture. And this is broken up in later boards showing the current and proposed connections. The proposed connections are the ones that are in the current comprehensive plan. Like I say, last updated, 2008, something like that. We have a multimodal transportation plan in there in our element that hasn't been updated for a long time. That's where some of that proposed, it's even got a canoe trail all the way around. Stuff is that's where that comes from, that information. So that's what that map is. That's an informational map. And then the next one goes to the Vision Zero and Complete Streets. Those are really county. We have if most of you know, Forward Pinellas is an entity in the county that basically is what's called our Metropolitan Planning Organization. They are our transportation, federally authorized transportation organization. They call themselves Forward Pinellas now, but they act as our MPO, and they have several initiatives in addition to doing a long-range transportation plan, all that stuff they have to do by federal law. They have Vision Zero, which is, the idea that we want to keep going towards zero fatalities and zero injuries if we can, especially for bike and ped. Because Pinellas County, so my last job was Hernando County. we could never get any transportation money. This is terrible, but because we didn't have enough accidents. Pinellas County got all the money, lots of accidents down here.
So could this, okay, with regards to Division Zero, if we had a recommendation to put signs on the Pinellas Trail saying bicycles must stop, that would reduce accidents, because 9 times out of 10, I mean, that's kind of a simple fix. I think, would that fall under this Vision Zero?
It would,
Okay.
sure,
I'll make a recommendation.
yeah.
Can you fix the world
And with
while
this
you're at it?
exercise, we'll just go straight to that real quick. So the idea is, there's 3 maps here: walking, biking, and transit. I think, I'll make myself a liar here. Biking, transit. Yeah,
Okay.
so the idea is you put a number on the map, and then you flip over to the back and write your notes. There's note 1. So you might put a number on the trail, which is clearly marked here anywhere, and put number 2. Yeah, put stop signs on
Okay.
all the intersections. Bicycles must stop, that.
No, actually have a sign that says bicycle must stop, because I know in
Yeah.
other counties, they actually have that and telling them, hey, you have to stop.
Yeah, and that hopefully at least gets some people's attention. But the idea is, hey, even if you don't know exactly, I think a sidewalk connection is needed right here. You might put a sticker near Tarpon Springs High and say, I think we need better connection from downtown to Tarpon Springs High, or something like that. Just make your note, and we can kind of see where you're going with it. It's not that you have to know, it's like the numbers. You don't have to know every sidewalk in town, or drive
think the
around
city
when
should
you're
be-
doing this and make sure
Look
you're
at
right.
how many
It's
sidewalks we
okay.
have.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
agree.
think it's,
Yeah,
I think
it's,
For-
we've done a great job.
For my edification, once we do this, we're going to turn these entire packages
Yeah.
back into you.
We're going to lose these good
oh,
maps.
yeah.
That's okay.
So you're going to put your name on
Yep.
each exercise,
Got it.
and you're going to turn them back into us at City Hall,
Okay,
hopefully maybe by the end of July.
okay.
But if you need more time, we'll work with that.
Nice.
We're trying to get to all the boards. I think we have 2 or 3 more, so if they're going to need a little bit of time. So if some of you are late, and I'll send you a couple of email reminders every so often. And also if you have questions as you're working through them, just to stay in touch with you on these. So that is your exercises. Are there any other questions or discussion? And next thing I'll do is I'll try to be getting you back an email with some of this information in the next couple days, probably early next week. And as we said, so we're discussing here, you guys are probably good at it. Some of my other boards are not great. When you reply, you don't reply all. To the emails, you just, yeah. There's 1 or 2 board members that will remain nameless. I had one on a board this week. Tom will appreciate this. He finally wrote, I try to not reply all, but my computer doesn't, and I don't know why. Like, okay, what can I do? I'll have to figure out his computer. So are there any other questions or discussion on these?
There's something we're supposed to do with this information one too, isn't there?
I'm sorry.
The information one?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so when you go through the surveys and some of the other stuff, it'll refer to information boards. These are your information boards, the letters down here on the corner.
Okay.
Right.
All right, great.
And it's some of the stuff, like here's the coastal high hazard area, on questions about that. Covers a lot of the city, you get a visual, it's like, okay. It'll help you answer the question, and so that's some of that data that you're looking
Just didn't
for.
have acreage, and then I can divide it by 25,000 people if I need to, but I can do
Yeah.
that.
Right,
My email
so,
is wrong
okay.
in here. Is it correct?
Anybody else have questions for her?
She's gonna send out
Everybody's
something by
agreed that we can take them home and complete them, and we'll be good citizens and return them.
You have her
Yeah,
email
and-
address. You might want to send her some, but I'll double check again.
Oh, she's got it on her card.
No,
Oh, yours.
yeah. My email address has been chronically wrong in there, and I keep asking to correct it. So if she sends something out to the email list, I might not get it. I don't sometimes get stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I sent it, was the email list that Bobby gave me.
So you didn't know she was coming today? We somehow, I bet Bobby can help you fix that.
Yeah.
I sent her the most updated one. Which one is, you're referring to the one
I'm going to
that's in
look
your-
to see what's in there now. I didn't look today, but
Oh, okay. Whatever's in there might not have been changed up, but I did send the most updated one, and I believe it was done.
I just
in
don't know if it ever got corrected to the right one.
But if the city doesn't have your correct email, we need to make that correction.
Right.
Okay.
Anybody else have announcements,
I'll give it to you
notes?
again.
I'd like to
there a
congratulate
list
you
in
on
here?
a very, very short board meeting.
I don't get credit. And we're hoping the city will have a new
Yes.
code enforcement officer as soon as they can get that done. If there's no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 2:40.
Great. Thanks, Pat, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
You.